Hello, this is Journey to Positive Choices. I'm Doug McWhorter. Today we're very pleased and very happy to have some special guests, Albert and Leslie Ramirez. They're friends of ours that we've met at Neon Life Church in Weatherford and have got to know them. They have a real estate business in Weatherford and several other things, and I just want to welcome you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Well, you're very welcome. I'm excited about what God has done in your lives, and just want you guys to just share your story. There's probably somebody out there that's trying to start a small business or trying to get into something and have very busy lives. And you know what? I guess what I'd like to talk about first is your family. Can you just kind of tell us about your family a little bit? Whichever one wants to.
Let's start.
We have two girls. Sydney is a junior in high school this year, and Presley is a 7th grader in middle school. And they're involved in sports, and Presley kind of does every sport. Sydney, she just mostly does volleyball. She does softball for a little bit, but volleyball's her passion. I'm afraid it's kind of becoming her identity, but that's a different story for God and I to talk about. Yeah, they just keep us busy, and
they're active. They're active in church. They serve in the kids ministry and other areas and helping the community. And we're just a very active, busy family.
I know that a lot of times I'll go, well, where's Albert and Leslie? And then, your kids are, one of you's going this way, one of you's going that way, and there's just all kinds of things going on all the time.
Well, we really don't like to do that. So this year is going to be really challenging and difficult for us because we call it the year of the split. Normally when we have our girls in a club sport, Sydney does club volleyball, Presley's in school sports now, and she's starting a little select basketball and volleyball, and so we can kind of make our schedules work to where we're always together, we're always a family. I don't like going out of town or out of state separately, so this year is going to be pretty challenging for us, so definitely be praying for us on that, because we will have to split up a little bit. Luckily this will be probably the only year, because Sydney's senior year is next year, and it'll be academic based and school sports only, so then she'll graduate, and that'll be
and I'll cry.
a sad,
sad day.
And
sad
then it'll
day.
be Presley's dream will come true. It'll be all about her.
That's right. Well, and God has, he's provided you with two beautiful girls that are very active in, just for me being on the outside looking in, I can see that you guys have really taught them about Jesus and about God's love, because I can see it in them. And
it's the best thing you can say.
Well, and you
That's
can.
Yeah.
Because they're very, just when you talk to them, you can sense that. And and I truly believe in today's time with our young people, our adolescent group, from 6th grade up through college, it doesn't matter. They're faced with so many negative choices now that it's just so unbelievable, and it's so easy to get this negative input on all kinds of things. And so when I see girls like yours that are trying to have a positive impact, because that's what I talk about all the time, is positive choices versus negative choices, and you can see it in your girls. And I would just tell you, I thank God for that, because they are a witness no matter where they go and how they act and what they do, and you can just see that. And I can tell that you guys have instilled that, and you have that same philosophy in your life, is we're here to witness. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely.
I appreciate you saying that, because you feel like you get a lot wrong, as a parent for sure, and to hear those things from others, it really reinforces what we're doing. But we certainly put God at the center of our family, and our girls know God's first, Mama's next, and then
Yeah.
Him. And as hard as it is for them to realize that sometimes, that's the way the model is, and that's how we live. And as long as they see us, as a strong covenant and putting God first, because they see us go through hard times, and they're active in sports, and I think that's really cool because it teaches them so many good things. It teaches them to make good choices. It teaches them camaraderie, and really, though, what we're learning over the last couple years is it teaches them adversity and how to overcome it. And there's a lot of letdown, and there's a lot of challenges in working hard and having dreams, and especially with Sydney's going through that, and she's seeing college in her future, and there's some letdown, and life happens. And here's the reality: is we don't always get what we want and what we dream for and what we pray for and what we work our lives to achieve. We don't always get that. And so one thing that I know is getting us through certain seasons and challenging seasons in our life with our oldest girl, Sydney, is God's at the center of her heart. And we know He is, because you talk about choices. We choose joy no matter what, right? And no matter what we're going through in school or sports or life or relationships or whatever adolescents are going through, and whatever we feel in our heart, and as parents, and we hurt for our kids sometimes in these difficult times where there is pain and challenges, it's as long as you keep God in front of you and He's at the center, then you can choose joy through anything. And you can see it in her. No matter what she's going through, that girl she chooses joy.
And I see it. I mean, I'm just telling you, I see it, and you can sense it. And that's, you said something, and we're going to talk about kids right now. I think back, whenever I was raising kids, and I mean, man, I did a lot of stuff wrong. I realize now that because I didn't put God at the front and center of my life or their lives, and I should have. I see those things now, and I try to tell parents that no matter what you're going through, what the challenge is, or what hurdle you're having to jump, put God first and put that joy in your life, and it'll be so much easier for you to get through those hard times and to help your kids get through those hard times if you do it with a joyful, caring heart and you look to God for your strength. That's the hard part for a lot of people.
It's difficult.
Because we get very frustrated and we want to try to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we do, what do? We mess it up.
We mess it up. We mess it up.
So let God guide you in those times. And with your girls, I know there's going to be, challenging times that they may try to do things themselves, and it encouraged me to hear you say, well, we try to teach them to look to God first and into that joy and to His answers. Because if we don't look there, we don't have joy. Man. We don't have nothing actually.
No, we don't.
Yeah. And it's
not fun.
It's hard. Yeah, and I can say this because I've lost one, and I would take her back. I don't care what condition. Mm-hmm. She could be on drugs and pregnant, not married. Yeah. And I would take her back, but
absolutely,
I would do things so much different. I would really be the Christian example for her that I wasn't, or that's what I try to be for anybody now, for you guys, for your kids, for whoever I stand in front of. When I speak in front of students in schools, I want them to see God in my life.
Yeah.
And God has allowed me to be able to go to a public school and not cross that boundary that they've set, but they know that God's in my life. And that's what I'm telling you guys. I see it in both of you, and I see it in your girls. Really and just keep that light going. It makes me very proud to see that. And I know there's parents that may be struggling with some things with their kids, and what I would tell them is, you need to turn to the Bible and you need to turn to God and let Him help you through it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Leslie does a phenomenal job of, she's been a spiritual leader in our family for the entire duration of our marriage and our girls. And I didn't have God in my life at a certain point. So she does a great job of keeping them as nagging as they think it is or whatever it is, right? Here's your daily devotionals. Here's another devotional book. Here, where are we at in our Bibles? Presley, have you done your daily Bible app? Have you shared the verse of the day with we have our text group for our family is called Flammy. And so when the girls were little, they used to call it Flammy time. Yeah. Can we have Flammy time or Flammy movie time?
Yeah.
So, that's our little group. And so she does a really good job of keeping that, reminding them how important it is to just go to your Proverbs, go to your, go to a verse of the day just to get some reassurance and some affirmations. And so she does a great job in just continuously reminding them, hey, get back in the Word. Hey, look at that. Hey, you're having a bad day. You're struggling. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And so I want to put that disclosure in here for parents, because we all know, as much as effort as we put into parenting, it is so hard, and sometimes it's unrewarding other than seeing your child grow. But you don't get praise enough for being a good parent. You don't get some recognition. But the other side of it is, if God wasn't in here and God wasn't in our lives, we screw up a lot of things with them. I want y'all to know it's okay. It's okay as a parent to have faults and not get everything right. And looking perfect isn't the goal for a parent. Like, right. We're so past that. Like, looking perfect isn't the goal. Pouring into our kids, leaning into them through God and Him giving us the strength and energy. Because I promise you, if it wasn't for God, those girls wouldn't have hide on their butt sometimes. I understand. And that is God, because they work you. They work your nerves. They work your frustration. You get flustered, and you're not going to handle everything right all the time. You're just not. But what I've learned, especially over these few years, and we'll connect Neon Life Church into this, because that's where I began my spiritual journey. Actually, really my spiritual growth and stretching and getting uncomfortable and really going from a non-Christian man to a devout follower of God.
Right.
And just keeping him there, keeping him at the center. Neon Life taught me so much about having patience and not pulling away. I learned this as the girls get older. Fathers especially feel like we can't relate, right? Especially puberty hits.
Right.
And we're like, whoa, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, I'm out. And so we have a really, really open. They're as comfortable with me, maybe not the boy talk, but they're as comfortable with me as they are their mom when there's any issue.
And that needs to be there.
And I think, and it has to be. And so what I want to tell dads is, man, when your daughters get to a certain age, we tend to just kind of take a step back thinking they've got it figured out and they're older, they're driving.
Right.
Man, we've got to lean in even harder, right? At that point, I'm like, I've got to be, I joked with you about being so involved, right? But we can't pull back. Our daughters are used to them having us wrapped around their finger their whole lives. And then they turn teenagers and we're like, hey, you got it. They don't want that, and I don't believe they want that. God's saying, no, you need to hold on tighter. You need to dive in deeper. You need to get closer and be more present. And so that's what I've been trying to do in this season of our lives, right? We have only so much time left with them. And by the time they graduate, we will have spent 90% of the time we'll ever spend with them.
Right.
Ugh.
And I don't like that number.
Hurts your heart right there.
And I tell Leslie that, and she just, she.
Well, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, I know.
It's terrible, and
that's the truth. Though.
But it's the truth, and that's okay. That's what we're training them, and
And God's preparing our hearts to
raising
let the butterflies
disciples.
fly.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, I will tell you that, I mean, my kids, my daughter and my son, Ryan and Nicole, are in their upper 30s. They're older, but you know what? We still want to live a godly life and be a godly example for them,
Yes.
as well as our grandkids. It really never goes away. It's always there. But right now, the season that you guys are in, you're very close to your girls, and there's a lot of things that you can do together, because I can't do that anymore because they have their own families, their own lives, but we do try sometimes.
Yeah.
But, we want to be the examples, and that's why it encourages me to hear you guys talk about that it's not always roses.
No.
No,
it's terrible sometimes.
Yeah, there's going to be bumps in the road.
Yeah.
There's going to be rough times, but if you go through those rough times together, I think you can get through them a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's when we stray away and we want to do everything ourselves. You do it, you go do that, you do this, No, we need to do it together as a family. And so keep doing that. And, that's something that I try to teach. I've started teaching it's called a positive choice parenting seminar. And it has like 7 models. And one of them is just that. Be the example. Mm-hmm. Let God lead you in being the example.
That's good.
And so I'm very proud to hear that. Now, it sounds like, though, that also that is kind of transitions into your business life also. Mm-hmm. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Because you both have, I know you have your real estate, you do real estate, and plus you have
general contracting, consulting, and real estate investing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you kind of got 2 things going, and I know you work through an agency in Weatherford, but
we'll give shout outs to Kate's and Company with Erica and Chris. They're phenomenal.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, because hey, we all have to have people on our side, right?
Yes.
And I believe that God puts people in our lives to not only help us as Christians, but to help us while we're here. Mm-hmm. And we're here to help each other, and that's what I keep telling myself, since I am out of the oil and gas business and I'm now, going into ministry full time, I rely on a lot of the relationships and the friendships that I make because we help each other,
mm-hmm.
And
that's what it's all about, is relationships.
It is. Yeah. And, I'm very proud of you guys because I know that you do a lot of real estate all over. I mean, it's not just here in the Weatherford area. Leslie, you grew up in Graham. Is that correct? Well,
Graham America.
Yeah,
Graham America. It's like a little small town thing.
Yeah, just north of PK. That's what I tell her.
Yeah, where's that?
But I mean, Graham was, and it's kind of an up and going. I remember the oil and gas used to be a pretty big booming town. Now it's kind of slowed down a little bit, but I mean, there's still a lot of things. Do y'all have some real estate deals that you do up in that area? And
yes, all over. We do. I say all over. As long as we know the area, we'll go and service it. But most of those are referrals. Someone will just call, because we don't live out there. But I grew up there, so I know a lot of people. My family still lives there. We've got friends that do business there, and so we have some commercial listings and lake listings and
Cool.
those things out there. So it's fun to get back out there and see some people that I haven't seen in a long time.
Well, good. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is you don't just restrict yourself to Parker County.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
we focus on Parker County because we live here, but we'll travel hours in any direction. You know, we do a lot of business in Palo Pinto and Young, and that's really kind of our little trail from here to Young County, but Erath County, surrounding counties, and we've traveled as far as 2 or 3 hours to do business. So yeah, you can get spread out.
Well, yeah, and you really don't want to get too far.
You don't want to, yeah.
Well,
at some
especially
point you run out of gas.
Well, and you have girls involved in a lot of things, and and I know that takes up a lot of time. But has God really? I know you two work together, and this was something that we talked about earlier. But I guess what I'm asking is, can you explain to people kind of how God has helped you in your lives as business partners and working together? If you didn't have God in your life, do you think that you would be doing business together?
Absolutely not.
I would never work for him.
She would never work for me.
If he did not have God in his life.
That's the biggest key. Is you can say that again. You might want to elaborate on that part because
we tease and say BC, before Christ, because he was a late bloomer.
That's all right. He's in there.
Yeah.
I was 33 when I got saved, everyone, and
yeah,
I'm just glad to be on this side of it.
And so that Albert, I would have never worked for him. He jokes and laughs because he and I were both in retail management, and he would say, like, when his people left his store, or when he left the store, that they would never even check on him. He never heard a peep from him. And he's like, and when you leave stores and you go to another store, like, you still talk to all your people. They still call and talk to you. And I'm like, yeah, because they love me. Like,
oh yeah, because she's a lovable person. She really is.
And he was just strictly
and
business,
cutthroat,
which I
bottom
get it.
line, right? I get it.
That's why he does the commercial side of our business. That's all. He's that kind of person.
We laugh because she still has. So we've been doing this. This is our 6th year together. I've been doing this for 12 years. So I've had my real estate license for 12 years. Been a licensed realtor in the state of Texas. And so she joined me 5 years ago. And still to this day, there's not only employees that she had check on her, customers call and see how she's doing. And I'm like, how cool is that to have left that kind of, impact on those people, that they still reach out to you, see how you're doing. Because me, it's the complete opposite. I wasn't a very good person. I was just a pretty straightforward.
You were just business.
Yeah,
but now, don't get me wrong. When it wasn't business, I'm all about. I was party mode all the way. But yeah, it was pretty much let's get it done and at all costs, right? And so, what I would say, carrying over to our business now, having God at the center of it, and me being on the other side of things, is God working in my heart and leading with Him has allowed me to truly serve our clients. And like you said something earlier, the money always comes because we can't fund our lives and do what we love to do and help others with no money.
Right.
And so business isn't a bad word, guys. Money isn't a bad word. You have to have monetary funds to fund your life, right? I forget who said it, but they said money isn't money's the root of all evil, right? The love of money is the root of all evil, but money isn't the most important thing, but it's certainly tied to everything that is in this world.
Well, money doesn't make people evil. People make people evil.
That's it, right? And so that's one thing with business and starting your own business, especially a Christian business, where we absolutely give all the glory to God. We could never have done this. We would have never made it. And primarily because starting your own business and working for yourself, when you have to wake up every day and go figure out how to earn business because there's not someone writing you a check on Friday,
right,
or at the end of the month, if you don't have God at the center of it, I don't know how you can do it. There's so many times where it's so challenging, so difficult. We quit 47 times,
Yeah.
you're just done.
Yeah.
You don't have there's no way, for me, there's no way if I don't have, and I know it, when I'm not in my morning routine and I'm waking up, when I normally wake up, which I'm an early bird, but I'll wake up early, I'll get into my word, I'll get some worship music, I'll pray,
Right.
and then I'll get my physical workout, and so I'm trying to help put on my armor every morning so that I can attack the day, because it is, if you don't prepare like that and attack the day, man, the day attacks you and the enemy attacks you. And I can see the difference when I'm off track, when I get out of my routine. Our business suffers, right? The family dynamic starts to go down. And guess what? When I get right back into it, man, we're right back at where we were. And it's because God's at the center of it, and He gives me the strength. He gives me the clarity. He gives me the vision. He puts all that on my heart for me to be able to wake up every day and go do what we need to do to attract business, attract the right relationships, so that we can build and grow our business. And so I absolutely want you to know that because of Him is why we're here where we're at.
Well, God is the center, and God gets us through anything. And if there's somebody listening that's struggling with trying to figure out whether they want to start this business, or they want to do this, or they want to do that, I mean, the first thing I would tell them is you need to get in God's Word, and you need to get in prayer about what God wants you to do. Don't tell Him what you want to do. You just present it to Him and let Him talk to you.
That's good.
I'm pretty bad about just jumping in there and doing something. And not letting God lead me. In my life, in the oil and gas business, it's very fast paced. I mean, it was you got to do it now, do this, do that, do this, do that, and so I'm having to back up and say, God, man, I really messed up for all those years, because I wasn't listening to you, I was listening to me. And what I've heard both of you say is, no matter what you're doing, if you put God in your life and you let Him lead your life, things are going to go better. Are they always going to be a bed of roses? Heck no.
No, or not.
No, you're going to step in some cow dung here or there. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
But God can help us clean that off and continue on, because Satan, what I tell everybody, here's where Satan attacks us, is in our mind and is in our heart. We do daily spiritual warfare with Satan in our mind.
Yeah.
Because that's where he's going to attack us. And he uses money, he uses our marriages, he uses our business, he uses our families to attack us.
Mm-hmm.
But with God on our side, I just tell him, come on, Satan.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you want to have a little fist fight, well, that's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
We'll go have one. And I'm just so happy that you guys wanted to come on here and kind of share, because I think we've talked about some very important things. And, having God, and especially, you didn't have him at the beginning.
No.
And it was tough.
We call a period of our life the Dark Ages, right? And that was the whole transitioning from Albert, BC to who I am now, and having God in my life. And I'm telling you, it was a very difficult time for us. So what happened after that is I got sent to the desert to dry up for 40 years.
Yeah.
An oil field, by the way. So, and Leslie, she makes fun of me, but I always get to say I did my time in the patch. No matter how short it was, I did it. So her cousin sent me out there, and I went out there, swung a hammer, did some flow
Transition
back.
job, so we went from one job to another.
Right.
Well, it wasn't conducive with the lifestyle we were moving towards. Right, it was a sales job. It was entertainment marketing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes on in that world that greatest job of all time.
Yeah.
Right. However,
Worst job of all time.
when you're trying to and on the other end it's the worst job of all
It
time.
is.
Correct. So we were transitioning to some other things, so I didn't have many options. So I went and did that. Well,
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah,
It was actually interesting you talk about the doors God had shut in your life for the oil field to go back. And it was crazy because I felt, we're all our spouse's biggest fan, right? And I'm like, how could somebody not want this guy on their team? Like, how could they not want to use him in a leadership role, use him in, managing retail or whatever it may be? And he put application after application and never got calls back.
Understand.
And it was like, what is happening? What in the world? So that's when kind of desperation of like, hey, cousin, I need a job. And so he's like, well, I got one for you, but I don't know if you'll like it. And it was physical work. I mean, he was out there
swinging the hammer.
Worst shape of my life.
Busting iron.
Worst shape I'd ever been in my life was the day I showed up on location that day. I almost died 3 times in 27 days. It was rough.
But I laughed because he said that he went and dried up in the desert, but I feel like that's where God wanted him. I mean, it was absolutely a God thing because put him out there with some amazing guys that you got to influence. And like, I think at one point you ended up helping a marriage, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Meeting some amazing guys that just needed that light in their life to say, like, I don't have to live like this, like all these other guys that may live this way. Like, look at this guy over here, and there's something about him, like, just drawn to him. And so, like, that, I love that part of that story too, because that was like a God thing too, just admiring the little things in it,
It helps build our testimony, our character, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, we had, at one point, we had, some of those boys are rough, man.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got the guys that are, that look cleaner than everyone, but they have to be out there, or they like to be out there. And it's kind of funny seeing all the dynamics and the different backgrounds and stuff. But we even had an operation called Get Her Back. And that was go home and get your wife back. And we had we had a pretty cool little club there, and we were helping marriages and guys understand some things better, and that's what came out of that. It was pretty cool. And then what?
I was gonna say, like, what I liked about it, I didn't like him being away, like, cause we basically grew up together. I moved to Weatherford when I graduated high school, and he was still in high school, so I met him when he was like 17, or 16.
16, I was 16 when we met.
And so I think that's why we worked so well together, is because he was my best friend and still is, right? So I'd go play basketball with him at night. I'd go hang out with the guys, and we'd play basketball, we'd play softball,
bowling, video games,
whatever it was.
anything.
And so I think that's made it easier for us to work together as well.
That's cool.
But while he's out there doing that stuff, I laugh because I love people, and I enjoy hanging out and being around people. But I'm like, oh yeah, I could just stay home. I'm kind of like in the middle of that. But it allowed me to, because he wasn't there, so I just kept saying yes to church, like yes to God.
Right.
Like,
that's so cool.
You need me to serve? Okay, I'll do it. You need us to help set up? Okay, I'll do it. Like, I just kept saying yes. And so that was awesome to see God working in my life, using him being away and me saying yes to so many things that he had to offer it to be able to do at church. So
that's cool.
That's
a God thing.
Oh, it is.
He sets all these things up.
Yes.
No, he does. He saw me getting taken care of over there, and he said, well, now I got to work on this cold lady's heart over here.
Yeah.
But
it was cool to watch her grow. And then, I'm out there, and I'm like, well, man, that's cool. You're doing this and that, and I want to be home, and I want to be involved. And she said, she got tired. She said, okay, I'm done. Like, I'd been almost a year out there, and some of those, you go off, and some of these hitches are 45 days straight, all this. So anyways, I said, okay, well, what do you want to do? And she said, well, what do you think about, just going back to real estate? And I said, absolutely not. I don't want to go back there. She said, no, what if I join you, I get my license and I join you? She was working at Walgreens at the time. And she'd been a store manager for many years. And she was just, you get to a point at the end of the road and you see the writing on the wall and it's time to move on. And I thought it was a great idea. I said, if you're ready to jump, if you'll do this with me, I'll give it another go. We'll go all in on this. But I'm not doing it without you. And so it was pretty cool. She did. And we got her license. I left and we jumped in. And we jumped off the cliff and built the plane on the way down.
There you go.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And it was a wild, wild ride. It was really, really hard for a couple years, starting back up. It's like anything. When you stop, the momentum's done. Clients, whatever, have moved on. The business has changed. And so it's like pretty much learning it all new and starting over and trying to get that snowball rolling again. And so there was a lot of challenges we faced, but we did it together, and we always pray. We always pray together and keep God at the front of it, man. Because if you don't, it's too easy to get beat down. It's too easy to get beat down.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what the resounding story that I keep hearing in this is put God first.
Yes.
And no matter what you're doing,
matter
put
what.
God first. Let Him guide you. And I understand. I mean, the oil fields, I've done it so many years, is tough. And God shut the doors completely on that. And I'm going back into a business that I actually did for 7 years. I was a public speaker for 7 years and did it. I mean, I was traveling every week somewhere in, speaking. Well, the business has changed. I'm getting back in it again, but it's not like it was when I did it back then. And I'm just, I have to rely on God to guide me, to show me, to teach me. Mm-hmm. And what I want to do for Him is you just use me.
Yeah.
You use me to save souls. You use me to help somebody that's hurting. You use me here. You use me there. I don't care. It's when my daughter died in 98, which Albert has heard my story. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I told God, I said, I am not going to ask you why. Mm-hmm. What I am going to ask you, what do you want me to do with it?
Wow.
And that's how I have lived my life. Now, have I got mad at him? Yeah, I've got mad at him a time or two, but he understands.
Yeah.
My life is about, what do you want me to do for you? How can I use this story, and what do you want me to do with it? What do you want me to do with it? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do here? What do you want me to do there? It's never, well, why God? Because I believe whenever I get into the whys, I get into depression.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I get into all these bad things because I'm opening up my mind for Satan to start saying, well, here's why, and so I just promised God I'd never do that. And you don't do it either.
No.
I can tell by your stories, you go, what are we going to do next? What do you want us to do here? What do you want us to do there?
I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. I learned through John Maxwell that when you ask why, that's exactly what happens. When you ask why, it gives the open door for doubt and the enemy's foothold to come in.
That's right.
And when we ask what, it's for God, right? To serve God. What do you want from me? What can I do for your kingdom? What's next? What's the question, right? Why is okay in certain situations, but we need to be asking what's next.
Yeah. And I kind of look at it, why is a question, what is an action?
That's good.
That's
good, yeah.
So, man, I appreciate you guys being here. Is there anything else that you would like to... I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
I do... How can people get in touch with you? I do want you to tell them.
They can find us online. They can. We're on all social media platforms. we have our number out there. It's actually on Google page and other
You can Google our real
website.
estate, the Ramirez team,
Yeah.
and all of our information will pop up.
Okay, the Ramirez team,
Yeah.
and everything will pop up.
But
Yeah.
we love talking to others about starting a business if it's the right thing for them. It's not for everyone, right? Working independently or as a general contractor in any industry, it just isn't. I think you said it best. You have to pray before, because God will guide you, and a lot of times He's going to guide you away from it.
Yeah.
And if it's right, then you'll know the doors will open and He'll guide you towards it. But I think that's the biggest thing here is we'd love to talk to people about business and starting their own business and what that looks like. And we're always willing to be a resource for anyone from real estate to general contracting, or just hanging out, sitting down and talking about what our experience has been.
Very good. Well, I appreciate it. And if you want to reach us, you can get us on our website at www.journey2positivechoices.com. That's journey, the number 2, positivechoices.com. We appreciate you guys being here, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Have a blessed week. Bye.